Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel. Tension is mounting as the U.S. moves closer to a military response in Syria. U.S. warships are in position, targets have been identified, and America's allies are standing by. Today, Britain plans to introduce a resolution in the UN Security Council condemning the Assad regime, as growing evidence points to the Syrian government using chemical weapons against its own people. Strong words from the Obama administration as momentum builds in the case against Syria.
There is no doubt who is responsible for this heinous use of chemical weapons in Syria: the Syrian regime.
It's undeniable that chemical weapons were used on a large scale.
But still no decision today on how the U.S. will respond. President Obama has positioned military assets in the region, and the Pentagon has identified potential targets, most likely chemical weapons sites and military installations. Now they wait on the president's orders.
We are ready to go.
The White House is consulting with House and Senate leaders, and both President Obama and Vice President Biden have been on the phone with world leaders trying to gain full international support. Key U.S. allies are on board for a military response.
The question now for us is, are we more likely to deter the future use of chemical weapons by acting or not acting?
I do not believe the world can simply turn a blind eye to the use of chemical weapons against a civilian population, resulting in nearly 300 deaths or more.
The Arab League released a statement holding Assad responsible for the attack and called on the UN to respond, but stopped short of calling for military action. The UN is not likely to give its support, but White House officials say Assad's actions pose a direct threat to U.S. national security, giving President Obama potential legal justification for launching a strike without UN authorization. U.S. officials did not detail how the U.S. was directly threatened. Meanwhile, Syria stands by its warning that it will respond to any military strike by using all means.
If Bashar al-Assad didn't hesitate to use chemical weapons against his own sleeping civilians, what's to stop him from using them against sleeping Turks, Jordanians, or Israelis? So that's the nightmare scenario.
Israeli officials say they're prepared to defend themselves. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a warning of his own to Syria, saying, quote, "We are not part of the civil war in Syria, but if we identify any attempt whatsoever to harm us, we respond with great force." And the unrest in Syria has sent the price of oil surging over the last 3 months. It's up more than 15%. On Wednesday, it rose past $112 a barrel. An Egyptian Christian leader is calling out President Obama and his administration for not speaking out against attacks on churches. Following the church burnings, the chief spokesman for the Catholic Church in Egypt, Father Rafik Grish, criticized President Obama for not condemning the worst violence against the Christian church in nearly 700 years.
President Obama, when he made a speech, he just touched a word on burning the churches instead of telling the Muslim Brotherhood that they are terrorists and they are making terror in Egypt. He did not speak loud for this, and shame on him, if he is a Christian, that he does not speak out loud. The second thing is the spokesman of the White House, who, when he was asked what is the red line for the Christians in Egypt, he mocked and said, "I didn't bring my red pen." So I think it was a mockery not at its place, and really shame on him also.
Radical Islamists attacked at least 60 churches and Christian institutions in the days following the crackdown against pro-Morsi supporters. A special envoy will go to North Korea this week to seek the release of jailed American Christian Kenneth Bae. Bae is an American tour operator and Christian missionary. He was arrested last November and accused of hostile acts against the government. He's been sentenced to 15 years of hard labor and is now in poor health. Robert King, a State Department special envoy for human rights issues, will request a pardon and amnesty for Bae on humanitarian grounds. Today marks the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous Dream speech about racial equality in America. The country has come a long way since then, re-electing its first African-American president. Thousands are marking the event on the National Mall as President Obama makes the speech at the Lincoln Memorial. Jennifer Wishon sat down with 3 generations of the King family in Atlanta, Georgia, for their thoughts.
I have a dream today
Those famous words from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on August 28, 1963 will never be forgotten. More than 250,000 people attended the March on Washington. It's known as the largest demonstration for human rights in American history. 50 years after that momentous march and famous speech, America's first African-American president will deliver remarks on the very same steps here at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. CBN News sat down with 3 generations of the King family women to see if the dream has been realized. Dr. Alveda King is the niece of Martin Luther King Jr.
Many think that this means that the dream has been realized. It has not been realized, but we are on the way.
A new generation of Americans marked the anniversary at the reflecting pool around MLK's tomb in Atlanta. His youngest daughter, Bernice, says God is calling us to carry on that dream.
God is calling all of us to a higher plane, no matter who we are, whether we're black, whether Hispanic, Asian, Native American, white American, whether we're from any country in this world, our destinies are tied together.
Dr. King's sister, Naomi Ruth, actually attended the March on Washington 50 years ago. She says she'll never forget how far we've come as a country.
It was truly an experience that I will never, ever forget. Just being there and looking out at that sea of people, over 250,000 strong or more, and then looking at that water just brought back to me many of my spiritual values.
From birth, it seemed Dr. King was destined to preach the gospel. He was the son and grandson of Baptist preachers. At the age of 19, he was ordained as a minister and later became co-pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta alongside his father. Today, the Kings carry on their family legacy and hope the next 50 years will be even more successful.
I no longer am a slave. Christ is risen from the grave. Christ is Lord. I am saved and I'm free.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
In North Carolina, a church group was threatened with arrest for handing out food to the homeless. Love Wins Ministries feeds breakfast to the homeless at a downtown park in Raleigh on weekends. But on Saturday, they were told if they served the food, they would be arrested. The police were enforcing a city ordinance that bans the distribution of food in any of the city's parks. Love Wins had permission to set up on the sidewalk as long as they didn't block it and cleaned up after themselves. Now they will need to get a permit that costs $800 a day. The city ordinance will be discussed in town hall meeting today. Pastors and Christian leaders in San Antonio want their city to reject a proposed non-discrimination measure. The ordinance would protect sexual orientation and gender identity or expression. But the San Antonio Human Rights Coalition says the bill would transfer discrimination against gays into discrimination against Christians. The group agrees everyone should be treated with dignity, but they say the measure punishes people of faith by violating their rights of conscience and speech. For example, Christians could be blocked from working for the city if they have a biblical view on homosexuality or marriage. Liberty Counsel's Matt Staver points out Twitter already shut down one pastor's account after he tried to tell people about the upcoming vote. Massive federal deficits will be the biggest financial challenge for the U.S. faces for decades. That's the finding from the survey by the National Association for Business Economics. The economists believe that deficits will be even more of a problem in the future because of the ballooning cost of Social Security and Medicare. Those costs will keep rising as the U.S. population gets older. Well, Promise Keepers founder coach Bill McCartney is hoping to revive the dream of racial unity in Detroit. As Ephraim Graham reports, he's calling on Detroit pastors to lead Christian men there to become warriors for their world and for their city.
Detroit is picture perfect from a distance. Up close, it's a picture of urban decay. High poverty rates, high crime rates, and high unemployment are driving people away.
I don't know how long I'm going to stay, honestly. I don't know how much longer I can hang on.
Sergeant John Bennett has patrolled the city's streets for more than 16 years.
We've lost on the police department 1,000 officers that haven't been replaced in the last 5 to 6 years.
The Motor City's problems are simply bigger than police and government. That's why 50 area pastors are coming together to pray and to plan. And they're being led by Promise Keepers, an organization that unites men to fight for their families and their communities. Dr. Riley Washington is president. What are the spiritual dimensions to the problems that are facing the Motor City?
Well, number one, it is a revival and a renewal and a rediscovery of the Word of God. There's a lot of solid churches in Detroit doing a great job, but it needs to be on a combined basis. That's why the pastors are coming together.
The Promise Keepers meeting included a message from former Muslim Brotherhood terrorist Kamal Salim. Salim told pastors radical Islam made a conscious effort to divide the city as early as the 1960s.
I am not preaching against Islam. I am preaching for Christianity because I believe Jesus Christ is the only way, only truth, and only life. When I hear Islamics or anyone else preaching something different, that goes against what the Bible says.
Dr. Washington says it's time for Detroit Christians of all backgrounds to stand together to pull their city from the brink of disaster. How important is racial reconciliation in saving this city?
Racial reconciliation is critical because it undergirds oneness.
And Riley believes standing one with God is enough to bring revival to the Motor City. Ephraim Grain, CBN News.
Coming up, a deadly amoeba in the water. One family's message of hope to the world as they say goodbye to their young son.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes now.
Welcome back. A late summer heat wave has gripped the country's midsection with temperatures nearing 100 degrees. The system is bringing temperatures as high as 20 degrees above normal in some places. Heat warnings and advisories are in effect for 8 states, including North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. Minneapolis set a record Monday with 97 degrees. The high temperatures are forcing a number of school districts across the region to cancel or shorten school days. Officials and teachers worry the hot temperatures could put students in unair-conditioned classrooms at risk.
Dangerous because the kids get really exhausted, and even though we let them get a lot of drinks, they're still sweating. I mean, I had kids last week just drenched in sweat.
Wow, well, temperatures are expected to remain in the upper to mid-90s through the end of the week, with the potential to set new records. The family of a 12-year-old Florida boy will donate his organs to give life to a needy child. The boy contracted a seldom seen but deadly brain infection after playing in water. As Lori Johnson reports, another youngster is battling the same type of infection.
12-year-old Zach Reyna contracted a very rare brain infection while kneeboarding in a ditch near his southeast Florida home. An amoeba living in the water made its way to Zach's brain and destroyed the tissue. Amid the shock and tragedy, his Facebook support page stated, "Zach is our miracle. His strong spirit will always be among us. He changed all of our lives, brought us closer to God." Although only 28 cases of this type of infection have been reported in the last 10 years, there is another child who currently has it, this one in Arkansas. Kaylee Hardig was infected after playing at this water park. She's currently hospitalized in the Arkansas Children's Hospital. Meanwhile, the community is raising money for her medical bills.
We can't take the illness away, but we can help them with the money. If there's anything they don't need to worry about, it's that.
Doctors say the type of infection Zach and Kaylee contracted has a 97% fatality rate. The amoeba is found in warm, fresh water such as lakes and ponds that are shallow and in the south. It enters the body forcefully through the nose, like when you jump in the water. A person cannot be infected with the amoeba by drinking contaminated water, and the amoeba is not found in salt water. 3 years ago, another Arkansas child died from the infection after playing at this same water park where Kaylee contracted it. The park is now closed for good. Health officials advise people to use a nose plug when swimming in freshwater recreational areas that are warm and shallow, or to avoid those areas altogether. As for Kaylee, she is showing signs of improvement. She could end up as only the third person to survive this infection in the last 50 years.
Lots of people have been praying for her, and we wanted folks to be lighthearted tonight, come out and support the family.
Meanwhile, Zachary Reyna's family is inviting supporters on Facebook to pray as well, stating, "I believe that your son Jesus Christ died for my sins, was resurrected from the dead, is alive, and hears my prayer. I invite Jesus to become the Lord of my life." Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Up next is one of President Obama's trusted advisors associated with the Muslim Brotherhood. We'll connect the dots just ahead.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans. with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
It looks like the Muslim Brotherhood is on the ropes in Egypt, but here at home, one American Islamic group linked to the Brotherhood continues to thrive, the Islamic Society of North America. They're holding their 50th annual conference next weekend in Washington, and as Eric Stackelbeck reports, they even have an ear in the White House.
To its future. Before President Obama departed for Israel earlier this year, he took time to consult with Mohammed Majid. Majid has reportedly become a trusted administration advisor on issues ranging from immigration to counterterrorism policy. White House officials have praised Majid's organization, the Islamic Society of North America, or ISNA, as a pillar of the American Muslim community. But according to one analyst, ISNA's agenda is anything but mainstream.
We also know from the Muslim Brotherhood's own documents that this is a Muslim Brotherhood front, where they state it explicitly in one of their 1991 secret memos.
Ryan Morrow works for the Clarion Project, an organization dedicated to exposing radical Islam. He told CBN News that internal Muslim Brotherhood documents captured by the FBI name ISNA as one of 29 American Muslim organizations with ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. The Brotherhood gave birth to both Al-Qaeda and Hamas.
It's also easy to tell what the Brotherhood's agenda is because they've told us in their own documents, which is they've said that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within. And most importantly, they say they want to do it at the hands not just of the believers, the Muslim Brotherhood supporters, but at the hands of the unbelievers, us.
ISNA began in 1982 in Plainfield, Indiana. A founding member, Sami Al-Arian, was convicted in a U.S. federal court of conspiring to support the terror group Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Abdurrahman Alamoudi also worked closely with ISNA for years. He's currently serving a federal prison sentence for funding Al-Qaeda. Despite its radical roots, ISNA has expanded from its heartland base to the power corridors of Washington, D.C.
The remarkable thing is many of these founders who've been implicated in terrorism cases, named as unindicted co-conspirators in terrorism cases, are now consulting with the Obama administration.
Investigative journalist Patrick Poole says ISNA's founders were even given a tour of the White House in March 2013.
When it was closed off to the American public, they were meeting with senior White House officials, including the head of the Office of Public Engagement, who said that ISNA was the primary Islamic group that the White House does their Muslim outreach through.
It wasn't long ago that the U.S. government had a far less positive view of ISNA. In 2007, federal prosecutors named the group as an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terrorism financing trial in American history. The focus of that trial was an organization called the Holy Land Foundation. Its leaders were convicted of funding the terror group Hamas.
The Holy Land Foundation was spun off of ISNA, and here we have the United States government going into federal court saying these are bad guys, they're supporting terrorism, they're a front for the Muslim Brotherhood, and then as soon as they leave federal court, these are our outreach partners.
That outreach includes a role for ISNA in shaping America's counterterrorism policies. ISNA President Mohammed Majid is a member of a Homeland Security Working Group on, quote, violent extremism. ISNA also participated in a 2012 review of FBI counterterrorism training documents. The Bureau agreed to purge documents that ISNA and other Muslim groups found offensive or Islamophobic. Poole says the fox is guarding the henhouse.
We see a repeated pattern from FBI reports, from Department of Justice evidence in these terrorism trials, that groups like ISNA and their Muslim Brotherhood fronts, they're here to Islamicize America.
ISNA did not respond to CBN News' request for comment. As for the Obama administration, its relationship with ISNA continues. Earlier this month, ISNA officials met with Secretary of State John Kerry to discuss the latest attempt at peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians.
The White House is not embarrassed about this relationship. They publicly brag about the relationship and the fact that they're going to continue it.
And it's not just the White House where ISNA is making inroads. The group's interfaith office meets with Christian and Jewish groups around the country. And an ISNA leader even spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast earlier this year. Eric Stakelbeck, CBN News, Washington.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new Gripco, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and Gripco grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle.
It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of Gripco.
You can get the amazing Gripco with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete Gripco systems for just $14.95.
To order Gripco for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripco.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison and shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Family vacations are always memorable for parents. That's especially the case for one family after their son became a hero. The 9-year-old was able to stay calm under pressure, saving the life of a toddler who was drowning. Ethan Timon was swimming at an Orlando area hotel when he noticed a 2-year-old girl face down at the bottom of the pool. That's when he jumped into action. He pulled her out of the water. 2 bystanders performed CPR on the girl.
We were just playing and then she was just underwater and it was really weird. Really amazed that she's still alive.
When they are put through the life-saving training over in the UK, you don't think they're ever going to need it, especially not when you're on holiday.
Wow. Well, Ethan's mom says he learned swimming safety at a young age. The local sheriff's office is honoring Ethan with a medal for his quick action. The Wyndham Hotel is also thanking Ethan by sending him to Disney World. True little hero indeed. Well, that's going to do it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day. God bless.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. click and read a commentary, or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.